Yeah. So we'll just try to look at how can we solve this exercise. See, in the question, you can see that the actual and the budgeted sales from the month January to June is given, right? Same as the case they have given for purchases, wages, and expenses. Now, as we said in our yesterday's class, what is more important for us is to be very careful when we are going with doing the adjustments, like special information being given to us when we are preparing the budget. To summarize our yesterday's class, we were talking about cash budget, which is a functional budget, and it helps us to anticipate the movement, the receipts and payments that is going to happen within our organization in the budgeted period. So that's why we prepare the cash budget. Now, there are broadly three methods for preparation of cash budget. The first one being the receipts and payments method. The second method is balance sheet method, for balance sheet forecast method, and the other one is profit forecast method. So yesterday we were learning to prepare cash budget on the basis of receipts and payment method, which is the most commonly used method. And we prepared one exercise, and this in front of us, we will just discuss how can we solve it, right? Yeah, when we look into this question, we can find that apart from the general information, that is budgeted sales, budgeted purchases, and budgeted expenses, we have additional information. Like if we take the first one, advance income tax in May, which means it is going to be a payment that is happening in the month of May. So we need to show that in the month of May under payments. Now, the second adjustment, planned in April, again another payment with respect to plan that is going to happen in April. So we have to show that payment in the month of April. And then they said rent of rupees 300 payable each month, not included in expenses. So definitely what we have to be very careful is they had not shown this expense at the beginning in the expense box. See, you have a third column which talks about expense, and they say this 300 rupees not included in those expenses, which means we have to show that additionally in every month under payment. So we will show that in April, May, and June, because we are asked to prepare the cash budget for the period April to June, right? Then when we talk about 10% of purchases and sales are on cash terms, that's the next adjustment which is given to us. So when we look at the budgeted sales and purchases, the particular organization is having a habit of collecting 10% of sales value, as well as paying 10% of purchase value on cash basis. So we need to do that on the spot in the receipts and payments. With respect to sales, we will have a receipt. With respect to purchases, we will have payments. And then when they say 10% is on cash, it is underlined that the rest 90% happens in credit, right? And they are going to give us some transaction with this respect to that credit. So they say credit purchases are paid after 1 month. So 90% of the purchases are paid after 1 month, and credit sales are collected after 2 months. So it's like payment will happen. Suppose if it is happening in April, the payment will be made in May. But if it is with respect to sales, they are saying after 2 months. So if it is happening in April, it will be in June. 2 months, after 2 months, likewise. So that's the case with credit purchases and credit sales. Now coming with the time lagging wages and expenses, half a month, which means what we have to understand here is half of our wages will be paid in the same month, because first in a year, in a month, there would be two first half and second half. So the one part of wages and other expenses will be paid in the second half, and the next half is going to happen in the next month, which we need to be very careful. So if we are talking about the month of April, in the second half, there will be one payment that will be happening with respect to wages and expenses, plus there is one half coming from the previous month. From the previous month. For in this case, it would be coming from March. Right. So we have to anticipate it like that. With respect to May, it will be one half coming from April and one half of May itself. So that's what we mean by half a month time lag. And of course, they have shown the cash and bank balance, the opening balance as 13,000. So this is actually the context in which we have to do the exercise. So now let's look at how it is being put in our question. Now, as we said in the question, the opening balance is 13,000. We already saw that the opening balance of this is 13,000. We got it here. Right. Now, the next thing is, as in the format, we know the cash budget under receipts and payments method, it is classified into two. It is divided into two. The first half will talk about the receipts. The second half will talk about the payments. And the difference between the receipts and the payments will give us the net result, whether we having a positive balance or negative balance, whether we have a surplus or a deficit. That is something which we will be able to do when we are preparing the budget. We are planning well in advance, right? So in the first part, in the receipt part, the first thing which we will be putting is, as we have been told in the question, that 10% of sales happen on cash terms. So that is something which we will be putting in our receipts as a first item. So we know that 10% in the month of April, which means 10% of 90,000, that is 9,000, right? And then in May, it is 10% of 85,000. It is 8,500. And in the month of June, it is 10% of 80,000. It will come as 8,000. Right. So that is the amount with respect to our cash sales. And then now we will have to take care of the credit sales. We know that since 10% is happening on cash, the remaining 90% will happen in credit terms, right? But what we have to remember here is they have given an adjustment that credit sales are collected after 2 months. After 2 months. So the one which we will be getting here in the month of April, it will be coming from here. Right. So that's what we have to be very careful, because they've already said that the credit sales are happening after 2 months. So that's what we are recording here, because see, when we are talking about sales, it is 80,000, 10% already paid in cash terms, right? In that respective month, in February itself. Now the remaining will be paid after 2 months. So it is going to happen in April. So when I'm reducing 10%, that is 8,000, remaining 72,000 will have to happen in April. That's how I have put receipt from debtors in April, 72,000. What we have to remember is this is coming from February, the credit sales amount of February. Now, why is it so? In the question, it is said credit sales is paid after 2 months. Okay, so that's why this one is coming up from February. The balance credit sales of February will be recouped in the month of April. Same as the case, it will happen in May, right? And also in June. April is going to happen in June. Right. So likewise, we need to take care of the aspect, because it is said in the question that after 2 months, the payment and the receipts after 2 months, and the payment with respect to purchases happen after 1 month. Right. Now going with the okay, that's it with respect to the receipt. So we total up the receipt side, and now we are going to the payment side. Now when we look into the payment side, we know that this payment 37,800 would be a payment of credit purchases in the month, or if it is in April, it will be from the month of March. because we have been told that the credit purchases, the payment will be made after 1 month. So this is March, and April, the remaining payment, the one, no, after the payment to the creditors for our purchases, if there is a 1 month lag. So April payment will happen in May, and May's payment will happen in June. That's how it has to be done as per the question given to us. Now, of course, they already said in the question that 10% of purchases also happen in cash terms. So definitely in April, we have a purchase of 50,000. So 10% of that will come in the month itself. That is 5,000. Same as the case with May and also June. 10% in cash terms needs to be shown then and there. The remaining 90% will be taken to the next month. That's how it is given in the adjustment. Now, if at all you have some doubt, I believe you will be having doubt with respect to this time lag of half a month. But it is very simple. It's nothing but wages. There is expenses. There is a time lag of half a month, which means the payment for the month of April, the first half payment for the month of April will happen in the second half, and second half in the payment of second half will happen in the first half of May. So you will have only half of April happening in half of payment happening in that month, and the rest half will be coming up from March, right? So here, if we take care of, if I'm going to take with the expenses of April, I have a wage of 24,000. So the half of it will happen here itself, right? 12,000 will happen here, and half of my wages from March, that is 11,000, will happen in the month of April. So it will be 11,000 plus 12,000, which gives me 23,000. Yeah, here it gives me 23,000. That's how I got the 23,000 as my wage payment for the month of April. I repeat, half. They say there is a time lag of half a month. So April payment, first half of April payment will happen in the second half of April, and the rest, you have another half that will be taken to the month of May. Right. But in April, you have second half of March coming up. Right. First half of March will be paid in second half of March, but second half of March will be taken to April. So you will have one half of April and one half of March in the month of April. Same as the case with May. We will have one half of May at the same time one half of April. That is, the second half of April will be taken to May. That's how it happens. So that there you need to be very careful when we are taking the amount. There is a possibility that if we are doing in a hurry, we will confuse with the amount. And if at all, if you get one amount wrong, the whole budget will be will not be given with the right answer, because it will be reflected everywhere
Yes.
when you total it up. Yes.
Miss,
Yes.
ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ ടൈം ലാഗ് ഹാഫ് എ മന്ത് എന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പൊ രണ്ട് ഹാഫ്, ഒരെണ്ണം ഇപ്പൊ മാർച്ചിലെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഹാഫ്, മാർച്ചിലെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഭാഗം, അങ്ങനെയാണോ മിസ്?
Just listen to me very carefully. E amount നോക്കിയോ, 23,000. Just listen to this, 23,000. Okay, and this 23,000, how do we get ARS? April we have 24,000, right?
Yes.
April we have 24,000. So half of that will be 12,000. Correct. Half of 24,000 will be 12,000. And that is the first half of April paid in the second half. So 12,000 will be paid in the same month. And the remaining 12,000 will be taken to the month of May. So I have 12,000 payment to be made in the month of April of April's wages. Now, in this particular question, they say there is a time lag of half a month. So with respect to March also, the same thing will happen. March, we have the first half being paid in the second half of March. But the second half of March will be taken to April. So March, we have 22,000. half of that will be 11,000. First 11,000 will be paid in the month of March itself, right? But the other 11,000 is taken to the month of April. So in April, the total payment will be 12,000 of April and 11,000, that is, which is coming up from the second half of March. So that will come to 23,000. So 12,000 plus 11,000, 23,000 in the month of April. Same as the case for April second half will be paid in May. So 12,000 in May, it will be 12,000 plus first half of May, that is 10,000, it will be 22,000. That's how we get the amount of 22,000. Right? And the same way it will happen for June also. In June, how does it happen? It will be half of 35,000 plus half of, half of, that is purchases. So that's why in June also, half of 18,000 plus the half of May. So 10,000 plus 9,000, that is going to happen in May, in June. That's why they say there is a time lag of half a month. So it will be very easy for you to understand if you take it like this. That is, first half of April being paid in the second half of April. So that month you will have one half to be paid. Then second half of April will be paid in first half of May. So in May, you will have one payment coming up from April. At the same time, with respect to the current month, first half of May will be paid in the second half of May. So one payment of May also will happen in the month of May. But second half of May will be taken to first half of June. That's how we have to take it. It's very simple, but only thing is we have to remember, we have to divide the month into into half. Two parts. We have to divide that into two parts. That's how we go with doing in that way. Right. I hope it is clear.
Yes, Miss, clear.
Right. Now we will go with the next. If that is okay, the rest of the expenses are very, very simple because they have said that with respect to rent, it happens like this. That is 300 payable each month. So it will be like every month you will have additional expense of 300 to be shown. That's what we have showed here. Every month 300. Right. And then they said there is an advance income tax payment that is going to happen in the month of May. So in the May, you will have advance payment of 4,000. So this 4,000 will go as a payment in the month of May. Right. Now, they also said with respect to plant, there is a payment in the month of April. They said there is advance payment in the month of April. So definitely that 10,000 will happen in the month of April. Now we got the total of payments. We also got the total of receipts. The difference between that will give us cash balance. In this case, we have a surplus cash balance in all the months because our receipts were higher than our payments. That's all. When we talk about cash budget with the receipts and payments method, this is it. But I again underline the area where you have to be very careful is with respect to the adjustments and its related months. There we need to be very careful.